This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. The I.P.O. by Dan Koontz. Chapter 1. His eyes snapped open, as if spring-loaded as his head shot up from the thin foam pillow. Despite the chill that permeated the orphanage barracks half an hour before sunrise, he threw off his covers and sat straight up, sweating and out of breath, tenting his scrawny arms on the cot's metal frame. A quick look around the converted gymnasium confirmed that all the other kids were still asleep. Good. He knew from experience that this night's sleep was over. At least he'd have the shower to himself before the hot water ran out. A little over 3 months had passed since the day Ryan Tyler Jr. had spent every subsequent day trying to forget. But as he stared down at the shower drain, warm water tumbling off his hair and sheets, he found himself returning yet again to the last memory he had of his parents, on their way to pick him up early from daycare on his 7th birthday. In a matter of seconds, he was all the way back, standing beside his teacher, just inside the center's glass double doors, searching expectantly through the pouring rain. An impatient grin materialized on his lips as the form of his dad's Honda Civic gradually took shape through the torrent. A hazy, rhythmic flash of orange joined the cone of white light from the headlights as the car slowed, approaching the entrance to the parking lot. Soon, he was able to make out his mother's face in the passenger seat as the light from an oncoming car shined through the front windshield. She had just started to raise her hand to a wave, and a smile had begun to take shape on her face as she briefly made eye contact with her son. The light on her face grew gradually brighter, until it almost appeared that the sun was shining. Only on her. This was the image he had seen every morning since, just before being jolted awake. Then, she was gone. A cannon blast, followed by the screech of tires, several rumbling thuds that shook the floor, and finally, the mundane static of the falling rain. Ryan's heart stopped. He reflexly jumped at the door, threw it open, and bolted out to the edge of the parking lot. Wide-eyed and panting, blinking away the rain, he stared 50 yards down the street to the glowing tail lights of a massive Chevy Suburban that dwarfed the unrecognizable remains of his dad's 8-year-old Honda Civic just beyond. After a brief pause, he forged ahead at a slow, deliberate pace, continuing on instinctively toward his parents, scared to death to see what awaited him. No one could have survived that impact, but compelled to go forward, as if drawn to them magnetically. Broken glass crunched underfoot as he approached the rear fender of the Suburban. His chest felt hollow. His heart seemed to have slowed to a stop. Just as he attempted to peer around the back end of the SUV to the mangled mass of metal and fiberglass that had been his parents' car, his teacher rushed in from behind, scooped him up in her arms, and took off running as fast as she could back to the daycare center. He screamed a desolate scream of desperation, stretching both arms out over her shoulders, reaching for his parents, futilely giving everything he had to free himself from her serpentine hold as he watched his whole world slowly disappear from sight. "Turn that off! You're going to wake up the whole wing," one of the orphanage nannies hissed. "And what makes you so special that you get all the hot water?" Snapping back to the present, he quickly shut the faucet off. He hadn't soaped himself yet, but he really hadn't done anything to get dirty the day before. "Now, get dressed," the nanny added with just slightly more compassion in her voice. "You've got a visitor." His expression brightened a little at the thought. It didn't register with him that it wasn't even 6 o'clock yet. James Prescott scanned one final email as he slugged down the last ounce of his first coffee of the morning. Before reaching the end of the message, he quick replied a simple, "No." He didn't care what favor he owed to whom, or what kind of sob story a supposedly close friend was selling him about how much he needed this. He wasn't about to do anything that might jeopardize.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.